Okay, so you want to own a laundromat. Rows of washers and dryers running all day, customers feeding quarters into machines, cash piling up while you are somewhere else. No inventory to manage, no food to spoil, no employees if you run it unattended. The machines do the work. You collect the money. Sounds like the perfect passive income business. And honestly, from the outside, it really does look that way. But here is what people who actually own profitable laundromats know, and what most people selling laundromat courses online never tell you. A laundromat is not a vending machine that washes clothes. It is a utility-intensive, equipment-dependent real estate play operating in a business where your customer base is shrinking every year as more people own washers and dryers, where a single water main break or machine breakdown can cost you thousands in a weekend, where you are competing against newer facilities in a race to offer bigger machines and better amenities, and where the passive income promise disappears the moment you factor in maintenance calls at 9 p.m., vandalism cleanup, and the reality that machines designed to run 50,000 cycles do not last forever. The cash flow can be real. The hidden costs are real, in ways that most people never see coming. Let's start at the beginning. When people say laundromat, they are usually picturing one thing. A storefront location, 1,500 to 3,000 square feet, filled with 20 to 40 washing machines of various sizes and 15 to 30 dryers. Coin-operated or card-operated. Customers bring their laundry, buy detergent from a vending machine, wash, dry, fold, and leave. Some locations are fully unattended. Others have an attendant during peak hours offering wash and fold services. Open 16 to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That is the self-service laundromat format. The entire business model is built on equipment utilization, maximizing the number of loads processed per machine per day while minimizing labor, downtime, and operating costs. Here is something that surprises people when they first look at this industry. The United States has approximately 29,000 to 35,000 laundromats currently operating. That number has been slowly declining for 2 decades. In 1998, there were over 35,000. The industry is contracting, not growing. Why? Home washer and dryer ownership has steadily increased. As of 2024, roughly 85% of U.S. households own both a washer and dryer. In 1980, that number was closer to 65%. Your customer base, the 15% of households without in-home laundry, is shrinking and increasingly concentrated in low-income urban areas, apartment complexes, and transient populations. The customers who remain are primarily renters in apartments or multifamily housing where landlords have not installed laundry facilities, college students, urban residents without space for machines, and people whose machines broke and they need a temporary solution. This is not a growth market. This is a mature, slow-decline market where you are fighting for a share of shrinking demand. But here is the paradox. In the right location, with the right equipment mix, and the right operational model, laundromats still generate strong cash-on-cash returns, 15% to 35% plus annually, because the operational model is simple, the revenue is predictable, and the business mostly runs itself once properly set up. The key words are right location and properly set up. Most people get one or both of those wrong. Before you spend a single dollar, you need to understand something fundamental. You can buy an existing laundromat or build one from scratch. The economics are completely different. Buying an existing laundromat means you are acquiring an operating business with established cash flow, existing equipment, and a customer base. Purchase prices typically range from 3x to 5x annual net operating income. A laundromat netting $60,000 per year sells for $180,000 to $300,000. You are paying for equipment, lease assignment, or real estate if the owner owns the building and goodwill. Building a new laundromat means you are starting from zero, spending $200,000 to $500,000 plus on equipment and build-out, and hoping customers show up. Most first-time buyers purchase existing laundromats because the cash flow is proven, financing is easier, and risk is lower. But you are inheriting aging equipment, potentially unfavorable lease terms, and whatever reputation the previous owner built. Let's model both. First, buying an existing laundromat. You find a listing for a 2,000 square foot laundromat in a working-class neighborhood. The business has been operating for 12 years. It has 28 washers, 2 load, 3 load, and 4 load capacities and 22 dryers. Coin-operated. Unattended. Open 24/7. Gross revenue $185,000 annually. Expenses, rent, utilities, maintenance, insurance $110,000. Net operating income $75,000. Asking price $300,000, which is 4x NOI. The seller provides tax returns, utility bills, and a rent roll showing $3,800 per month rent with 4 years remaining on the lease. You negotiate to $275,000. You put down 20%, $55,000, and finance $220,000 through an SBA loan at 7.5% over 10 years. Your annual debt service is approximately $31,500. First-year cash flow, $75,000 NOI minus $31,500 debt service equals $43,500. On your $55,000 down payment, that is a 79% cash-on-cash return in year 1. That looks incredible. But here is what the seller did not tell you. The equipment is 12 years old. Commercial washers and dryers have a lifespan of 10 to 15 years depending on usage and maintenance. You are buying machines near the end of their useful life. Within 2 to 4 years, you will need to replace $80,000 to $150,000 worth of equipment. The lease has 4 years remaining. What happens in year 5 when it expires? The landlord can raise rent by 20%, 30% or more, or decide not to renew. If you have invested $100,000 in new equipment by then, you are stuck. You either pay the higher rent or walk away from your investment. The neighborhood is changing. A new apartment complex with in-unit laundry is under construction 2 blocks away. When it opens in 18 months, you will lose 15% to 25% of your customer base. None of this was in the listing. This is why experienced laundromat buyers do not just look at NOI. They assess equipment age and replacement schedules, lease terms and renewal options, competitive threats within a 1-mile radius, demographic trends, and utility cost trajectories. Now let's model building a new laundromat from scratch. You find a 2,200 square foot retail space in a dense urban neighborhood with high apartment concentrations. Limited parking but good foot traffic. The area has one older laundromat 0.6 miles away. Rent is $4,500 per month, $54,000 annually. Lease term, 10 years with 2 5-year renewal options. You need build-out and equipment. Build-out costs. Commercial laundromats require specific infrastructure. You need heavy-duty electrical service, 400 to 800 amps depending on equipment load. Commercial washers and dryers pull 220V to 480V. Electrical upgrade and panel installation, $20,000 to $50,000 depending on existing service. You need robust plumbing, multiple water supply lines, floor drains, and drainage capacity for simultaneous machine discharge. If the space was not previously a laundromat, plumbing installation runs $15,000 to $40,000. You need HVAC. 20 dryers running simultaneously generate enormous heat. You need ventilation and cooling. HVAC installation or upgrade, $10,000 to $30,000. You need flooring. Sealed concrete or commercial tile that can handle constant water exposure and foot traffic. Flooring, $5,000 to $15,000. You need walls, lighting, seating, folding tables, security cameras, and a small office or storage area. Interior finish work, $15,000 to $35,000. Total build-out for a raw or semi-finished space, $65,000 to $170,000. If you are taking over a former laundromat space, you can cut this by 40% to 60%. Now, equipment. This is the largest capital outlay. Commercial washing machines. You need a mix of sizes. Small 2-load washers, 20-pound capacity. For individuals and small loads, cost $2,000 to $3,500 each. Medium 3-load to 4-load washers, 40 to 60-pound capacity, For families and bulk loads, cost $4,000 to $7,000 each. Large 6-load to 8-load washers, 80-plus pound capacity. For comforters and large items, cost $8,000 to $14,000 each. A typical equipment mix for a 2,200 square foot store. 10 small washers, 12 medium washers, for large washers. Cost, $20,000 plus $60,000 plus $44,000 equals $124,000 for washers. Commercial dryers. Stack dryers or single pocket dryers, 30 to 45 pound capacity. Cost $2,000 to $4,500 each. You need roughly 20 to 25 dryers. Cost, $50,000 to $90,000. Total for washers and dryers, $174,000 to $214,000. You need payment systems. Coin-operated mechanisms are old school but still common. Cost per machine, $150 to $400. 446 machines, $6,900 to $18,400. Modern laundromats use card systems where customers buy a reloadable card and machines accept card payments. Card system infrastructure, card dispensers, card readers on each machine, back-end software, costs $15,000 to $40,000 installed. Many laundromats now accept mobile payments, apps, or credit cards directly. Hybrid systems, $25,000 to $50,000. You need change machines, $1,500 to $4,000. Vending machines for detergent, fabric softener, snacks, $3,000 to $8,000. Seating and folding tables, $4,000 to $10,000. Security system with cameras covering all areas, $3,000 to $8,000. Signage, exterior and interior, $5,000 to $15,000. Total equipment and systems, $220,000 to $340,000. Add permits, business licenses, insurance deposits, initial utility deposits, $8,000 to $15,000. Initial marketing, grand opening promotions, $5,000 to $10,000. Total investment to build a new laundromat from scratch, $300,000 to $535,000. Most operators finance 60% to 80% of this through SBA loans or equipment financing. At $400,000 total investment, $120,000 down, $280,000 financed at 8% over 10 years, your annual debt service is approximately $42,000. Now let's talk about revenue. Laundromat revenue is straightforward. Customers pay per cycle. A small 2-load washer charges $3 to $5 per cycle. A medium 4-load washer, $5 to $8. A large 8-load washer, $8 to $12. Dryers charge 25 cents to 50 cents per 10 to 15 minutes. Most loads require 30 to 45 minutes of drying, so 75 cents to $2.25 per dry cycle. A typical customer spends $6 to $12 per visit depending on load size. Revenue depends entirely on how many turns each machine does per day. A turn is one complete cycle. A washer that does 4 turns per day is used by 4 different customers. A washer that does 8 turns per day is in high demand. Industry benchmarks. In an average performing laundromat, washers turn 3 to 5 times per day. In a high traffic location, 6 to 8 turns per day. In a struggling location, 1 to 3 turns per day. Let's model a moderate location. 26 washers averaging 4.5 turns per day at an average price of $5.50 per cycle. Daily washer revenue, 26 by 4.5 x $5.50 equals $643.50. Annual washer revenue, $234,878. Dryers. Assume 1.2 dryer cycles per wash cycle, because some customers use 2 dryers or extended drying. 26 washers x 4.5 turns x 1.2 dryer cycles equals 140 dryer cycles per day. At an average of $1.50 per dryer cycle, daily dryer revenue $210. Annual dryer revenue $76,650. Vending revenue from detergent, snacks, drinks, $8,000 to $15,000 annually. Total annual revenue $234,878 plus $76,650 plus $12,000 equals $323,528. Now let's talk about the costs everyone underestimates. Rent, $54,000 annually. Utilities, this is the killer. Laundromats use staggering amounts of water, gas or electric for heating water and drying, and electricity for machine operation. Water usage. A commercial 3-load washer uses 25 to 40 gallons per cycle. Across 26 washers doing 4.5 turns per day, that is 117 cycles daily, using 2,925 to 4,680 gallons of water per day. Annually, 1.07 million to 1.71 million gallons. At municipal water rates of $4 to $8 per 1,000 gallons including sewer charges, annual water and sewer costs are $4,280 to $13,680. In high-cost markets like California, $8,000 to $20,000 plus. Gas or electric for water heating and dryers. Gas is cheaper. Electric is cleaner but more expensive. A gas-heated laundromat might spend $1,500 to $3,500 per month on gas. Annually, $18,000 to $42,000. An all-electric laundromat, $2,500 to $5,000 per month. $30,000 to $60,000 annually. Total utilities, water, gas, electric, $35,000 to $80,000 per year depending on rates and efficiency. This is 11% to 25% of revenue. Maintenance and repairs. Washers and dryers are workhorses, but they break constantly. Bearings wear out, belts snap, door latches break, coin mechanisms jam, water valves fail, dryer heating elements burn out. You are repairing something every week. If you do repairs yourself, parts cost $3,000 to $8,000 annually. If you hire a commercial laundry technician at $80 to $150 per hour, total annual maintenance costs run $8,000 to $20,000. Industry standard is 8% to 12% of revenue. At $323,000 revenue, that is $25,840 to $38,760. Equipment replacement reserve. Even if nothing breaks this year, equipment is depreciating. In 10 to 12 years, you will replace $200,000 plus worth of machines. You should reserve $15,000 to $25,000 annually for future equipment replacement. Many operators skip this and get blindsided when multiple machines die simultaneously. Insurance, general liability, property, business interruption. Annual premiums, $4,000 to $10,000. Labor. If you run unattended, labor is zero. If you have an attendant during peak hours offering wash and fold service, part-time labor costs $15,000 to $40,000 annually. Attended laundromats generate additional revenue from wash and fold, $30,000 to $80,000 plus annually, but labor eats 40% to 50% of that. Cleaning and supplies. Even unattended laundromats need regular cleaning. Floors, bathrooms, folding tables, windows. If you do it yourself, supplies cost $1,500 to $3,000 annually. If you hire a cleaning service for $1,000 to $10,000. Security and monitoring. Unattended locations are targets for vandalism, theft, and homeless encampments. You need cameras, alarms, and potentially regular security patrols. Annual cost, $2,000 to $6,000. Credit card processing fees if you accept cards, 2.5% to 3.5% of card transactions. If 40% of revenue is card-based, that is $3,200 to $4,500 annually. Property taxes if you own the building, or CAM charges if you lease. Another $3,000 to $12,000 depending on the lease structure. Marketing, minimal for established laundromats, $1,000 to $3,000 annually. Miscellaneous, permits, licenses, bank fees, accounting, $2,000 to $5,000. Let's add it up at $323,528 annual revenue. Rent, $54,000 utilities, $55,000 maintenance, $30,000 equipment reserve, $20,000 insurance, $7,000 cleaning, $6,000 security, $4,000 processing fees, $4,000 CAM/taxes, $6,000 miscellaneous, $4,000 total operating expenses, $190,000. Net operating income before debt service, $133,528. Subtract debt service of $42,000. Net profit, $91,528. On a $120,000 down payment, that is a 76% cash-on-cash return in year one. That looks outstanding. But here is the reality check. That model assumes 4.5 turns per machine per day, every day 365 days per year. Real-world performance is more variable. Machines break and sit out of service for days. Customers are seasonal, less laundry in winter, more in summer. Utility costs spike unexpectedly. A water main breaks and you are closed for 3 days, losing $1,800 in revenue you can never recover. And you are not truly passive. You are responding to maintenance calls, restocking change machines, dealing with customer complaints about machines eating quarters, cleaning up after vandalism, and managing equipment failures. Let's talk about the risks that destroy laundromat businesses. Utility cost spikes. Water rates increased 30% to 60% in some California cities between 2015 and 2023 due to drought and infrastructure upgrades. If your water bill goes from $12,000 to $19,000 annually and you cannot raise prices because the competitor down the street has not raised theirs, your margin evaporates. Natural gas prices are volatile. In winter 2022 to 2023, gas prices spiked 40% plus in some regions. Your gas bill went from $2,200 per month to $3,100. Over 6 months, that is an extra $5,400 in costs. Equipment failure cascade. Your 3 large washers, the moneymakers, all fail within 6 months of each other. They are 13 years old. Replacement cost, $36,000. You do not have the cash. You finance it at 12% interest through an equipment lender. Now you have another $450 per month in payments. Lease renewal disaster. Your lease expires. The landlord wants $6,500 per month, up from $4,500, a 44% increase. You have $220,000 in equipment that cannot be moved economically. You either pay the increase, losing $24,000 per year in profit, or you walk away from your investment. Competition. A new, modern laundromat opens 0.4 miles away. They have larger machines, card payment systems, free Wi-Fi, TVs, and a clean, bright environment. Your facility looks dated. Customers migrate. Your revenue drops 25% in 6 months. Demographic shifts. The neighborhood gentrifies. New apartment buildings include in-unit washers and dryers. Your customer base shrinks by 30% over 3 years. Revenue declines from $323,000 to $226,000. You are now losing money after debt service. Vandalism and theft. Your location gets hit repeatedly. Coin boxes get pried open. Change machines get broken into. Vandals smash dryer glass. You install better security, but it costs $8,000, and you are still losing $500 to $1,200 per month in theft and damage. Regulatory changes. The city passes a water conservation ordinance requiring all commercial laundromats to install high-efficiency machines within 24 months. Replacement cost for your facility, $180,000. You cannot afford it. You close. Let's talk about the operators who succeed long-term. They do not buy laundromats with short-term leases. They negotiate 10-plus-year leases with renewal options and rent escalation caps. Or they buy the real estate, eliminating lease risk entirely. They budget for equipment replacement from day one. They set aside 6% to 8% of revenue annually into a capital reserve account. When machines fail, they have cash to replace them immediately. They invest in efficiency. High-efficiency washers use 40% less water. LED lighting cuts electric bills. Programmable thermostats reduce heating costs. These upgrades pay for themselves in 2 to 4 years. They add revenue streams. Wash and fold service, drop-off laundry, commercial accounts with hotels or salons, vending machines with high-margin products. They turn a $320,000 revenue laundromat into a $450,000 revenue laundromat with the same equipment. They monitor performance religiously. They track turns per machine per day, revenue per square foot, and cost per cycle. When a machine consistently underperforms, they reposition it or replace it. They own multiple locations. A single laundromat is fragile. An operator with 4 laundromats in different neighborhoods can absorb a bad year at one location, share parts inventory, and negotiate better pricing on equipment and repairs. Let's run the numbers 2 ways. Best case scenario. You buy an existing laundromat in a stable working-class neighborhood for $260,000. Equipment is 6 years old, well-maintained. Lease has 8 years remaining at $3,600 per month with capped escalations. You execute well. You upgrade payment systems, improve cleanliness, add wash and fold service. Revenue grows from $195,000 to $265,000 in year 2. NOI increases to $95,000. Debt service $30,000. Net cash flow $65,000 annually. Over 5 years, you generate $325,000 in cumulative cash flow on a $52,000 down payment. You have built serious equity. You can refinance, pull cash out, and buy a second location. Or sell for $380,000, a $120,000 gain. Realistic scenario. You buy a laundromat for $285,000 without doing deep due diligence. Equipment is 11 years old. Lease has 3 years remaining. Revenue is accurately represented at $210,000, but you did not account for deferred maintenance. Year 1, you spend $18,000 on unexpected repairs. A water heater fails, $4,500. For washers need major service, $6,800. Dryer heating elements, belts, and bearings, $6,700. Year 2, the landlord informs you they are not renewing the lease unless you agree to $5,200 per month, up from $3,900. That is an extra $15,600 annually. Your NOI drops from $68,000 to $52,400. After debt service of $32,500, you are netting $19,900. Year 3, 2 large washers die. Replacement cost, $24,000. You finance it, adding $350 per month to your debt service. Net cash flow drops to $15,700. By year 4, you are exhausted. The business generates modest income but requires constant attention. You try to sell for $240,000. After paying off remaining debt of $195,000, you net $45,000. You put in $57,000 initially. You lost $12,000 over 4 years plus hundreds of hours of stress. The difference between those outcomes is equipment age, lease terms, deferred maintenance assessment, and location quality. The laundromat industry generates approximately $5 billion annually in the U.S. There are owners who have built portfolios worth millions. There are single-location owners generating $70,000 to $150,000 in annual passive income from well-run facilities. But the median laundromat generates $180,000 to $320,000 in revenue, nets $45,000 to $90,000 after debt service, and requires active oversight despite being marketed as passive. The people who succeed understand this is a real estate and equipment management business first, a service business second. They buy right, finance smart, maintain obsessively, and plan for equipment end of life before it happens. The people who fail believe the passive income myth. They buy laundromats with bad leases, old equipment, or in declining neighborhoods. They do not reserve capital for replacements. They do not monitor performance. They treat it like a mailbox and get blindsided when reality hits. The washers and dryers run automatically once someone feeds them money. But they do not run the business.